Fallout 76 may have had one of the worst launches in gaming history. Way back in 2018 when this game came out, the map felt empty, the gameplay was boring, and it was full of bugs. Because of all of this, the game quickly became the worst rated and worst received Fallout game in the entire series. But now, in 2023, Fallout 76 still has an active player base, it still receives updates, its ratings have went from negative to positive on every platform, and it's even become one of the most played games on Xbox Live. So it's clear that Fallout 76 has had a successful comeback, but with all of that being said, many people are still asking, is Fallout 76 worth playing now? Well, in this video I hope to answer that question, but before that I would like to thank today's video sponsor, Opera GX. Opera GX is a special version of the Opera browser built specifically for gamers. One thing I love about Opera GX is the amount of customization available. You can easily set your own themes and even your own animated wallpaper. On top of that, the Opera GX sidebar lets you quickly browse apps like Discord or Twitter, control your music on Spotify, Apple Music, and YouTube Music, and you can even log into your Twitch accounts directly from the sidebar and get a notification when your favorite streamers go live. Opera GX is also available on mobile devices, and it can be connected directly to the desktop version. So what are you waiting for? Download Opera GX today for free by using my link down below. And again, I'd like to give a huge thank you to Opera GX for sponsoring this video. But getting right back to it, this is not a first impression video. I've played this game since its launch and I've completed every main quest, side quest, and expedition, explored every location, and I've been here for almost every major update. So I'm very aware of all of Fallout 76's strengths and its weaknesses. So getting started, let's take a look at its solo content. Even though Fallout 76 is a multiplayer game, it still has plenty to do if you would rather play solo. It still has those classic Fallout quest lines where you complete quests, meet new characters, explore new locations, discover lore, and make decisions. And you can play through all of the major quest lines and side quests solo, and there are a ton of them around the map. In every region you will find something to do as a new player. Now, as far as the main quests go, there are a few storylines. There's the original one where you have to follow the Overseer's journey, and that will introduce you to some of the factions and take you around the whole map. Then there is the Wastelander's main quest line, which is my personal favorite. This one came in with the massive Wastelander update that brought human NPCs to the game, and it's all about helping the raiders or the settlers find the secret hidden treasure in the area. It's a really good storyline, and it's also a good length as well. Then we have the newest questline, Steel Dawn. This one is focused on the Brotherhood of Steel, and it's also pretty good. I did love this questline. The locations are neat. At one point you end up going into this old Enclave underground base, and I don't want to spoil too much, but it's an awesome quest. The ending was also pretty good, but it is really short. It was only about a few hours long. Overall, the questing in Fallout 76 is easily my favorite part of the game. When Wastelanders came out, I pretty much played this game completely solo for weeks. I didn't play any multiplayer events, and I hardly even ran into any other players during the quests, so it almost felt like a genuine single-player Fallout experience. So if you're looking to play this game just for solo content, there is a ton here, and if you are a big Fallout fan, then it's definitely worth it for some of these stories and the lore that you will find. Also, a quick side note about questing, this isn't really a positive or a negative, but in Fallout 76 there is no going back on your saves like in the older games. So once you do make a choice that is it for your character, there is no going back and seeing what other dialogue or outcome was possible. As far as group content goes, there is a good amount of it, and there's always new multiplayer content getting added throughout the year. There are public events, seasonal events, normal events, world boss fights, daily ops, and the new expedition system. Public events will happen every 20 minutes on the server, and there will be a little icon that you can click on to travel there for free. These events can vary quite a bit, and there are some events that are really fun and have great rewards and XP farming opportunities, and then there are some that can be a bit boring and not many players go to them. The seasonal events are just public events that happen at certain times throughout the year, like Fajnad and Meat Week and this Invaders from Beyond event, and these ones usually have the best rewards because you can only get them during the few weeks that the event is active, so the rewards can be worth a lot for trading or selling in your vendors, and the events themselves are usually fun and have plenty of players at them. As far as the normal events go, these can happen randomly around the map, or the player can start them by going to a location, and they are usually much easier than public events and the rewards aren't as good, but there are plenty of them to do and discover. Then moving on, we do have world bosses. Right now there are 3 of them in the game, the Scorched Beast Queen, Earl Williams, and the Ultracite Titan. To start these boss fights, players will have to drop a nuke on a certain area around the map and it's going to spawn the boss. Usually almost everyone on the server will go to these, and the fights can be quite hard if you are a new player, and extremely hard to do solo. Completing one of these boss fights will earn you tons of XP and great rewards, and each has its own specific loot pool. Lastly, we have daily ops and expeditions, and these are pretty much Fallout 76's version of dungeons. Daily ops are much shorter and usually only take around 10 minutes, and you will join a public group and head into an area with enemies that have a random daily buff and complete some simple objectives, fight a boss, and then get some loot. The expeditions are basically a way bigger dungeon where it takes you off the map to an area and you complete a short mission, and it has characters involved and some backstory, and it takes way longer. You can even leave and save your progress in the expedition and come back to complete it at a later time. Now honestly, I do think these expeditions are best experienced solo for the first time, so you can take your time and explore the area and get into the story, but after a while you will just want to join a group and try to rush through these for the rewards that you can get. Next up, let's talk about the combat. It's pretty much the same as Fallout 4's combat system, but with some new weapons and changes to VATS. If you want to run around and specialize in melee combat, you can. If you want to become a sneaky stealth build, then you can. And if you want to become a walking tank and use power armor, you can. Character builds are a huge part of Fallout 76, and there is a build out there for pretty much every playstyle. And a really nice thing is that you can actually go ahead and change your build and redo your perks and your special stats at any time by using one of these special loadout machines, so you're not stuck with one build for the entire game. You can change things up and try things out whenever you want. As far as VATS goes, in the older games it would pause time and you could target specific body parts, but in Fallout 76, since it is a multiplayer game, you can't really pause time or slow it down, so VATS works in real time. You can still target specific body parts if you have a perk. Now it did take me a while to get used to, but once you get used to it, it's really not that bad. Also in Fallout 76, they have changed up the legendary system, so in Fallout 4 you would get a weapon or armor piece that was a legendary, and it had a special effect. But in Fallout 76, the system now can go up to 3 stars, and each star has its own effect. This allows for some super rare god rolls and makes trading kind of fun. Eventually you will want to hunt down a very specific weapon for your build, and you can gamble on it by spending script. You could trade for it, try crafting it, or get lucky with a drop. It can become a grind, especially in the endgame trying to hunt down a god roll weapon, but overall the system works pretty well in Fallout 76. Now, even though the combat hasn't changed all that much from Fallout 4, the building system has changed a lot. In Fallout 76, you can build a camp, and it's pretty much just a little circle that you can place down on the map and build in. You can build anything from a treehouse to a factory to a raider camp, a Brotherhood outpost, an Enclave outpost. The possibilities are really endless, and there are so many talented people out there who just spend 90% of their time in this game just building camps. It's sort of become its own subculture in the game, and you can easily spend hours just building your home. At your camp, you can also sell things with a vendor. You can sell weapons, armor, stim packs, ammo, pretty much anything. Players will also vendor hop around where they just go to a ton of camps on the map and check out prices and things for sale. So you could create your own little shop or bar and just sell things. It's pretty neat, and sometimes there are seasonal events that encourage others to go visit camps. For example, during Halloween, Bethesda gave us a trick-or-treat bowl, and players would just go around trick-or-treating at other people's camps for some limited time rewards. And speaking of rewards, doing seasonal events like that and other events in the game will get you camp plans. These plans are items that allow you to build specific things for your camp, so when you start off you only have the basics, just some wooden walls, floors, and some random decor items, but as you start collecting plans you can get some really neat things to place down at your camp. Players also do trade these plans a lot, and you can also buy them with caps at vendors. Now, if you want some of the best items for your camp, outfits for your character, or skins for your weapons and power armor, you will have to buy them in the Atomic Shop. The Atomic Shop is just your standard in-game shop. It gets updated once a week, sometimes there are sales, and sometimes there are some pretty cool bundles that you can get. However, sometimes things can get pretty pricey. For example, this Treehouse bundle in the Atomic Shop was being sold for 1,800 atoms, and that's $18 US. So it can get expensive, but you can get tons of cool items in-game just from playing, so you don't really need Atomic Shop items to make your character or camp look great. Also, you can earn items in-game by completing challenges and even on the scoreboard. The Scoreboard is Fallout 76's version of a seasonal battle pass. Now, one really cool thing about it though is that it is free, so everybody has access to it and most of the rewards on it. Now, some are locked behind Fallout First, but most of it is available to everyone. And on here you can get camp items, skins, outfits, consumables, currency, and all sorts of stuff. To rank it up, you have to complete challenges, and these can be anything from kill 10 enemies, or build 5 things in your camp, or even just kill a Deathclaw. The challenges reset every day, and the scoreboard stays around for about 3 months. Now, it can become a bit of a grind, especially once you get towards those last few ranks, but overall it isn't bad, and if you play a ton during those months that it's active, you should be able to complete it easily. Now, let's talk about the player count and community. Starting with the player count, Fallout 76 is actually in a decent spot right now. On Xbox, it became one of the most played games on Game Pass. It just recently went on PlayStation Plus, and tons of new players are hopping in. And for PC on Steam, it usually hangs around the top 100 games on Steam with around 10,000 concurrent players. It is also on the PC Microsoft Store, and I know some people play on there, so there are a decent amount of PC players. The game has definitely grown a ton since launch, and the Wastelanders update a few years ago brought a ton of older players back. Now, with all of that being said, the player base does seem to fluctuate a lot. I definitely noticed that towards the end of a season, when a lot of people have already completed the scoreboard and are waiting for the next update, the servers do feel a bit more empty. And then when a big update comes, the servers are completely packed with people hopping on to try it out. I think this fluctuation in the player base comes from the lack of endgame content, but I will get back to that later. For now, let's quickly talk about the community. The community in this game is absolutely phenomenal. It has a very friendly atmosphere, and the people will help you out if you need it, and you won't really run into many people who are trying to ruin your day. For the most part, this game is very relaxed, and most of the people you run into will just wave at you and maybe drop you some ammo or stim packs and then go about their day. A lot of high-level players want to help new players so that they have a good experience, and it's definitely created a very good community that I'm extremely proud to be a part of. And if you're looking to maybe join a group of players, you can find camp building groups, tons of role-playing groups, groups that put on in-game shows, ones that go and help others, groups that organize PvP battles, trading groups. There are so many neat groups out there in the community, and there are plenty that you can get involved with. Going into the future, Fallout 76 has a lot of potential. Currently, we know that Fallout 76 has an internal 5-year roadmap. We don't exactly know what's on it, but we do know that there is another expedition planned, more story content is on the way, and more events are coming. On top of that, the Amazon Fallout series is being filmed and worked on, and there's a possibility that the TV show introduces tons of new people to the Fallout series, so maybe Fallout 76 sees another big player base increase, or maybe they can even release an update that goes along with the TV show. Also, recently another team called Double 11 was brought in to help work on Fallout 76, and so far the content that they've worked on has been great. So right now we have 2 teams working on new Fallout 76 content. There is a 5-year roadmap, the Amazon series is being worked on, tons of new players are hopping into the game for the first time, and I think the future looks pretty bright. So in conclusion, I firmly believe that if Fallout 76 launched in its current state, it wouldn't have been so negatively received. The game is much better now, and if you are a brand new player, there is a lot of content here to enjoy. However, once you have done all the quests, explored the map, done the events, and killed the bosses, then there really isn't much here for endgame players. The game is an absolute blast at first. It's super fun exploring everything and doing all of the quests, but once you are done, all that's really left is grinding the scoreboard or maybe grinding for some endgame gear and getting really into camp building. That being said though, it will take a while to get to the endgame because you will have 4 years of content to experience. So in the end, for my pros and cons, for the pros, new players have tons of content, camp building is extremely fun, the community is great, the quests and stories are good, the map is really fun to explore, and I actually think that's one of Fallout 76's biggest strengths. Lastly, we also do have more content on the way. And for the cons, the updates are slow and sometimes underwhelming. We only get a few major updates a year, and it can be anything from a few new events and some bug fixes to an entirely new quest line. So sometimes they are great and well worth the wait, and sometimes we wait months for just a few new events. The endgame is lacking. The game can get a bit grindy at times, especially towards the endgame when you are grinding for the best gear, faction reputation, or when it comes to the scoreboard. PvP is lacking. Now for some people this is a pro and for others it's a con, but I do think it is worth mentioning that PvP is pretty much completely dead at this point. Not many players partake in it unless you are part of a PvP group, and there really hasn't been an update with PvP content for years. So if you're looking to start playing Fallout 76 for PvP, there really isn't much here. And lastly, I have inventory management, and I didn't really mention this earlier in the video, it just kind of came to me, but managing your inventory can get really annoying. In the game, you have a stash box, and you can only store so much inside. Now, admittedly, it has gotten better. When I first started playing, the max weight was around 400, I believe, and now it's at 1,200, so that is a huge improvement, but I still find myself just not having room for some weapons and armor that I've collected over my time playing. And a good way to free up more space is to pay for Fallout First. So you have to buy the monthly subscription so you can get the scrap box, which has unlimited weight for junk. Now, if you're just looking to hop in and experience the storylines for a bit, then it won't really matter, and you should be able to get by just fine. But if you do plan to play long term, then chances are at some point you are going to run into some inventory management struggles. Right now, Fallout 76 is in an interesting place. It seems to be growing with tons of new players hopping in and experiencing it for the first time, and updates are getting better. However, at the same time, tons of veteran players are leaving or only hopping on once a big update comes to play for a few days, grind out the rewards, and then leave again. I think the game really needs some more endgame content, and hopefully 2023 has some good updates ahead that can help fix that issue. So in the end, if you are a new player, this might be the best time ever to hop into Fallout 76 and give it a try. There is a ton of stuff to do, and if you are a completely new player, then you have years of content to explore. But that is pretty much going to be it for this video, so I hope that I've answered some questions that you had about the game. And if I didn't, be sure to leave a comment down below and I will try my best to answer it. Hopefully I see you in the wasteland, and thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I really do appreciate it. And as always, I'd like to give a massive thank you to all of the channel members: Mazader, Robert Kennard, CRM114, Theodore, Slappy Sauce, Esdeath93, King Kittens, Omniprotus, Terry Lockridge, Dalton Murphy, Victrix, Argent Deer, Shaky Hands Workshop, Axel, Kevin W, Anna S, Fallout McFly, Networkgate, Golty, Wandering Wastelander, Lanthar, Captain Awesome, Citizen Girl, Heather Henderson, Patrick Ruda, 23 Icefire, Jay Smith, Bowser Double Frank, Digital Aardvark, Christy Mellon Schwitz. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys, and have a great day.